Hi, my name is Jo Crofts. Welcome to the Applied Cytometry Flow Cytometry software, VenturiOne. We've recorded some tutorials to help you get started using the software. To get the most out of the software, the tutorials are designed to be used alongside the Getting Started guide and the operation manual. You will find these at the website below. Manual compensation. By default, VenturiOne will read the compensation that is saved with the file. It does allow you to change the settings or to calculate the compensation settings and then apply them to a series of files. Firstly, we will look at how we can change the compensation settings on a single file. On this particular sample, there are a number of plots where the populations are quite hard up against the axis, and they look like they may be overcompensated. What we can do here is use some of the tools in VenturiOne to help us recompensate a sample. So firstly, we can look at setting everything to a Hyperlog axis. Setting the fluorescence to a Hyperlog axis allows you to see both very high and very low off-scale overcompensated data very clearly. The first thing is to change all of the fluorescence plots to show a Hyperlog display. So we highlight all of the plots and deselect the forward scatter, side scatter plots, and now change everything to a Hyperlog scale. We need to adjust the 0 position and the number of negative decades present to create something that is a little easier to see. Click on a plot which is in Hyperlog, and two sliders will appear on each axis. The purple slider allows you to set the position of the 0 point, and the red slider allows you to adjust the linear to log percentage. So now we'll go to separate plots and straighten up some of the data there so we can actually see exactly what is overcompensated and what isn't. Having adjusted several parameters, it becomes obvious that there are several populations that are overcompensated. We can change the compensation on a plot by highlighting a plot and going to the Compensation tab of the ribbon and selecting Plot Compensation. In this case, we know that this population, which is heading towards the axis, should be level with the population on the left. We have a couple of tools which can be used to alter the compensation. The first being to simply click on that population and drag that population upwards. When you release, the data is recalculated and all the plots are updated. Again, click on a plot and drag the population upwards. And one last time, and click and drag and release. If you wish to return to the settings that were initially saved with the file, you can go to the ribbon and select Load Compensation from the headers, and that will return the compensation settings back to their own initial values. Another method for compensation is putting a quadrant on each plot. This can be done separately, or if you do wish to do many at once, you highlight all the plots you need a quadrant on. Select the quadrant region and then press Ctrl and click the mouse button over a highlighted plot. When you select a plot, you can select plot compensation on the ribbon, and then the current compensation settings will be displayed here together with the statistics for quadrants within that plot. So we can look at the X statistics or the Y statistics. When we look at the X statistics, we look at quadrants 1 and 3. And when we look at the Y statistics, we look at quadrants 3 and 4. For a correctly compensated population, the X statistics for 1 and 3 should approximately be the same value, as should the Y values for 3 and 4. So, looking at the plot on the right first, looking at the Y statistics for quadrants 3 and 4, we can see that the Y value for quadrant 3 is 267, and the Y value for quadrant 4 is minus 483, which is significantly overcompensated. So, you can either drag this population back up or use the controls in the ribbon. The single arrow up will move the population up slowly, or the double arrow up will move the population more quickly. So as this is quite overcompensated, we will use the double arrow until the values are approximately the same. So using the single arrows as a more fine adjustment for the compensation until they're around the same values. So that's the Y statistics. If we check the X statistics, they look okay, but let's check them anyway. We can see that the numbers are already correct. Let's have a look at the second plot. In this case, we are looking at the X statistics, and in quadrant 1, the population is slightly overcompensated. So we can reduce that value, and then we can have a look at quadrants 3 and 4. Again, it's overcompensated, so we can adjust that compensation so we can bring that population into the correct position. Again, using the fine adjustments. We can repeat this process for any population and plot that needs recompensating. To save the compensation settings for future use, you can go to File, Save, and then Save Compensation As. And then enter a file name, and then Save. file name then appears in the playlist compensation column. As another alternative, compensation can be performed using the preview plots. If you click on a region, this will gate the previews on that region. Then, on the Compensation tab of the ribbon, choose Manual Compensation, and then click on the preview plot to drag a population where you want it to go. You can also use the preview plots to look at the data in Hyperlog. By going to the Preview tab of the ribbon and selecting the Hyperlog option, then using that in conjunction with Manual Compensation option in the Compensation ribbon tab, you can get a quick overview of what the compensation looks like and make any quick adjustments if you need to. To view the compensation matrix, go to the Compensation tab of the ribbon and select the Show Matrix option. The window that comes up will show you the current compensation settings. These can be printed if needed. This is the end of our manual compensation tutorial. If you would like to see how to calculate the compensation using our wizard, please see the Compensation Wizard tutorial. Thank you again for watching. Bye.